Jigabras, film guy here. Are we getting too much content? We have streaming services releasing new shows and movies every month. I've had such a massive backlog of content that I haven't even been able to see yet. Like The Curse, The Sympathizer, The Fallout Show, The Boys, Baby Reindeer, Better Call Saul, The Sopranos, Peaky Blinders, and The Bear Season 3 comes out at the end of this month and I have to find time to watch that. All of these shows I would love to watch, but where the fuck do I start? I guess I've got the rest of my life to watch these, but more shows are just gonna keep coming and coming each year. We have movies in the cinema coming out left and right, only to leave just after weeks of release and going straight to digital. 2020 really messed everything up for movie theaters. The average person would rather wait a month for it to come out in digital than to, God forbid, go to a cinema. And I've been busy these past few months, so I have to kind of pick and choose which films I'm going to see in theaters and which films I'm going to watch at home. I saw the TV Glow wasn't playing anywhere within a 2 to 3 hour drive near me. And now it's on digital a month later and I can finally watch it. All I had to do was wait a little longer. And The Fall Guy was in theaters for quite a while, but I chose to watch it at home because it was the only way I could fit it with my schedule. I wasn't really interested in checking it out, but then I had 2 hours of free time during my day and I squeezed in a viewing just to check it out. Would I have benefited from seeing it in the theater? Absolutely. Seeing any film in a theater enhances your experience with it. I mean, July is going to be insanely stacked for movies, and there are also just so many shows that I've started and never finished, because so much time passes, and then when I finally return to it, I'm kind of lost on what's going on. Succession and Game of Thrones are shows that I have enjoyed watching, but have stopped watching. I want to finish watching these shows, but as soon as I think about watching them, something new comes out that I want to watch as well. And upon having time to sit down and watch a show or a movie, there's just so much to choose from. But right now, at least within the last few months of this year, we've been getting so much content. And yes, this is great. We are getting so many options of what we want to spend our time seeing. But right now, I feel like there's almost too many options. We have miniseries, we have seasons of shows, and movies upon movies that keep getting rotated out of theaters every few weeks. There's just so much to keep up with. There's so much to watch with so much limited time. I watch a lot of movies, but it always pisses me off when somebody's like, "Oh, you haven't seen Jaws?" Yeah, because I'm too busy trying to finish Succession, and then, oh yeah, a new season of The Bear is coming out soon. So is this really a problem? Are we getting too much too quickly? In my eyes, absolutely. There's too many of them, you can't deny it. We're getting too much content from HBO, Hulu, Netflix, Paramount Plus. I believe that the root of the problem is streaming. 6 years ago, they were in a better place than they are at this point right now. Every studio practically has one, thinking they have enough content to put on a streaming service and hide it behind a paywall. And this is a huge problem because so many people use these platforms, so much stuff is just being crammed into them so quickly. Nowadays, streaming services have the rights to movies right as they're releasing in theaters. It doesn't take long after they're out of theaters for them to hit these services. I wanted to see In Violent Nature in theaters, but unfortunately for me, it wasn't playing anywhere near me, so I have to wait for its release on Shudder. I suppose that's the only option I have since my small town theater doesn't take risks with these smaller and less mainstream movies. Like I saw the TV Glow and yeah, In Violent Nature. These smaller theaters need to take more risks, but they'll gladly play every Angel Studios film to come out. It's for the old people in my town, I get it, but... And not to mention these films beg their audience to buy tickets for their friends and family to inflate their numbers at the box office. That's a whole other can of worms, but I'm not going to get into that right now. People are loyal to their streaming services. I get it. I get it. Since they're already paying for that service when they see that Poor Things is in theaters, but it's coming out on Hulu a month later, they'd rather not see it in theaters and just wait until it's streaming. Because of this, movies are making less in theaters and they're coming and going like crazy. So quickly that by the time the average person has a free afternoon to go and see The Fall Guy, it's already on digital. So I guess why leave your house when you can just watch it from the comfort of your home, right? The average length of a film's theatrical release to digital or even physical media has been cut significantly. Remember when films would stay in theaters for nearly a month and then it would take about 4 or 5 months for them just to be released on digital or even physical media? It made going to see these movies just so much more special because if you missed it, you'd have to wait a long time to see it. But now going to the theater feels like a burden to most people. If we take streaming services out of the equation, then films like Furiosa or The Fall Guy may have been much more successful in theaters. People think that theaters are for spectacles only, like Dune. And this is just a slippery slope into what studios are choosing to make nowadays. So a film could have low numbers at the box office and then have a bunch of people watch it at home. They're gonna see that it did poorly in theaters, and then they're probably not gonna make a movie like it again, just because they don't think people are gonna wanna see it. You know why movie theaters are failing today? It's because people's attention spans are starting to fail. They would happily wait for as long as they need to just so they don't have to drive to a theater. And if they don't like the movie they're watching at home, they can just turn it off and watch something else. You know why the cinema is getting more and more expensive? Because the general public isn't going anymore. They would rather pay a monthly fee for limited content than pay one movie ticket. Let's go back to the time where we saw a movie just to see a movie. Because all I see at the movies nowadays is just movie fans. And I'm scared that that group is gonna shrink as time goes on. I know I just went on a long tangent of streaming services and movie theaters, but I feel like these topics are a part of the entire issue. We are getting too much on streaming, and people aren't taking risks by going to the cinema anymore. People are missing out on having captivating experiences at the cinema rather than just watching it at home. At home used to be for watching TV, and then we would leave our homes to go to the movies. And now it's just a huge mesh of movies and TV being released at home every week. And don't even get me started with Marvel, because you will never get me to sit down and watch one of those fucking Disney Plus originals. This is an issue that has been building at the back of my mind for quite a few months now, and I hope that many of you can relate to what I'm talking about here. Oftentimes I think, do I just give up on the idea of being able to watch everything that's being released? I guess we just have to be more picky. Perhaps this is the unintended consequence of this streaming war landscape. And finally, if you're new to the channel and you happen to stumble upon this video, please subscribe, because a large percentage of you are not. And I'm looking at you, Josh. Also, I'm working on a Patreon. I'll be adding tons of behind-the-scenes content, exclusive videos, retro replays, early videos before they hit the channel, and so much more. Through Patreon, you'd be able to support me through my creative journey, and you'd be receiving some more content from me in return. And that's all I got for today. Have a good night.